Well, here we are. Had a long break, sorting stuff out. Mostly like everybody else, we've got something else to do. But hopefully it's been worth the wait. We've talked through quite a lot of videos. A lot of you have been very responsive, and thank you very much. I'm not going to go through the whole introduction of merchandise and stuff. However, I have a couple of things to mention. As from the last one, the print is, I'm just waiting for that one to get framed actually, so I can show you it properly. However, that was called The Surrender. You gotta love this. So before I start on today's video, anybody wants one of these, you just need to go to the webpage, which is SAS Special Air Service Military Collectors and Facts page. Look up the name Shane Ball. It's already advertised, but how about this for a face mask? Just take a read of that. Perfect. Shane is dealing with it, and thank you very much. So you can all have a rusty Firmin on your face if you want. Bit of fun. However, we still have to wear these things. Why not wear one that's got a meaning? I wear it. I wore it this morning when I went to pick up my PO stuff from the post office. You wouldn't believe. I've got 30 left. That's it. We can get some more, but if you want them, you better get on there and get them quick. They seem to be going quite well. So today then, we've talked through, obviously, all the way through the siege, all the way up to the siege, all the way through it, onto the Falklands conflict. But, you know, the Falklands, obviously, that was our biggest loss of life in one conflict. Yes, it was by accident, but 19 guys is a lot to replace since World War II. Sad, yes. I do get to visit the site in Hereford, St Martin's Church. If anybody's ever up there, go and have a look. Very well kept. So we didn't rest on our laurels back in the UK. I'm going to talk to you now between 82 and 85. Maybe not all in this video, but over the next couple of videos to bring you up to date. As I say, no resting on your laurels. You're back. You've had a bit of a break of a few days, and now what do we do next? Well, I'm talking from B Squadron in my time. Most of the other squadrons would mirror it to some degree, but it's about me, what I did, along with my squadron, B Squadron, and the rest of the lads. Other squadrons did other stuff, but ultimately it would be based on the same. So you could interchange and everybody would know exactly what was going on. Yeah, so when we got back, we knew the IRA was still on the rampage. That will be a different story, and I have to be very careful if and when I can mention that, because obviously there is still ongoing stuff going on throughout the British Army. But they were still on the rampage. International terrorism still going on. Iran and Iraq pecking at each other. And that's the way it was. The Cold War, that was still on the threat. And in the background, we have to prepare for any eventuality. And that's exactly what we did. However, once I was back in the squadron in 1982, I was put on one of the most sought after courses in the SAS, and that was the SAS VIP Protection Bodyguard course. And on that, you can think yourself, great, I want to do this course, it's going to mean something. And you knew deep inside, maybe with mercenary reasons, that somewhere down the line, once you'd left the military, you'd definitely be a sought after commodity, as I was. And obviously a lot of the other lads. And that happened throughout. So it was twofold for me. One, I wanted to do it, grab it with both hands. You'd never say no to something like that. And secondly, life after the regiment, which are more stories. So the security circuit, once you leave the regiment or even the British Army, was up and running and wanting guys. However, I was 10 years away from finishing at this stage. The course, the first course I did, 6 weeks. Pretty intense. Homework every night. A lot of theoretical stuff to learn. And an awful lot of practical stuff. I'm going to skip through them at the moment because I'm going to talk about that later when I mention when I was running the bodyguard training cell within 22 SAS a few years later. But to give you some idea what depth of training we went into, in no specific order, medical training is always one of the top priorities. You've got to know what to do if you have casualties. If it's a VIP, you're probably out of a job already. But more importantly as well, what to do. As a team, it takes, as an individual, you're okay. Teamwork is the essence of VIP protection. Deter, detect, react. That will never change. So, medical training always taken seriously, and the lads were always up for it, and they knew that. Dry weapon training, when I say dry, it means no ammunition. What you're doing is stripping, cleaning, assembling weapons, getting to know them. Yet again, yes, we always go back to basics. We all think we knew it, but we never. It started again. How many times I had a weapon in my hand? We go back to the very beginning and start again. No matter what rank you are, how long you've been there, that would be the start. So you're so familiar with that weapon or weapons, it's second nature. And that's what would be expected of you. Because after that, it was all live firing. You don't get a second chance for that one. Vehicle escort drills. Remember, I'm talking now from an individual, but working over those 6 weeks to get into a team that is capable of working together, and also an individual that could go to any other team and fit in. I found out that later when I was doing the VIP protection cell instructor. Very important, but it works. And it's like anything else. What you put into it is what you get out of it. Personal security. People say, well, why personal security? Who's the dumb nut here? If you can't look after yourself, how on earth can you be expected to fit into a team, a VIP protection team, a bodyguard, call it what you want, if first of all you can't look after yourself? That's where it starts. If you fail on your personal security, you know what, you ain't going to be much good on your bike. Foot drills, how to operate as a team, protecting VIPs, all different formations. I haven't got time to go through them all at the moment. It's a specialist subject. Anti-ambush drills, what to do in an ambush situation. You don't want to be in there, so you've got other drills to try and keep you away from that type of trouble. However, if it does happen, you need to know what to do when that happens, because there could be a number of you involved in it, or it could actually be an individual with, low level. Yourself, a driver, maybe in a VIP of some form. In those days, it was called Unarmed Combat. If you get into a situation, probably you would more or less be on foot somewhere. You're not going to actually start doing it in a car in reality. But let's say you needed to disarm somebody, or somebody came in very close with a weapon, knife, whatever. Deal with it, get the VIP away to safety. It goes into a lot of depth of how to do all this. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, all your shooting skills on the ranges is where it pays off at the end. You get confident in your team members. You know fine well that once you're ready and finished and you're ready to operate, then you're at your highest standard that you could do, or be, shall I say. So the course would normally have about 12 members on it, and go through all the drills individually, as I said, all the way up to team and so on. And of course, the instructors are there to watch and make sure everything is being carried out correctly. High level and low level. Start off with low level, one car, one driver maybe, and a VIP. You get medium, two cars maybe, and then high level. In those days, nowadays it can go on and on and on and on. 3 cars, 12 men, 1 VIP, maybe 2 VIPs, who knows, it depends. But you've got the drill right, you're halfway there. The what ifs, you can't even comprehend what can happen. In this day and age, it's much more technical and advanced what terrorists can do. You've seen it. However, you do have to have been there and done it to understand that, and don't just pay lip service to it. So the level of threat is the level of protection that a VIP would get. So far more to come on that, slightly later date. But I'm telling you now what we did when we got back, or what I did when we got back, as my training. We didn't stand still. However, after that, we realized we were going to go to the Oman, which is a desert. And of course, the Sultan of Oman used to love, and still does, the British Army. And a great training area in the desert. However, for Rusty, the guy from Carlisle with a weird accent, is going now on a 3-month Arabic course. Wow. I never thought that. So, because we were going there, a number of us are earmarked for an Arabic course. Did I find it hard work? You bet I did. It's one of these things, if you can't roll your R's when you speak it, it's quite funny. However, I wasn't alone. So there we were, 3 months at home, 5 days a week, intense, yes. 8:30, 5 o'clock every day, break for lunch. I don't remember anybody going for lunch. That was the only time we could fit our individual fitness training in. You say, well, do it when you get home. I'll come on to that in a minute. Remember, a professional soldier, you do what you do when you're told. And somewhere down the line, you'll be telling people what to do. And it works like that. So as soon as the break came at lunchtime, it was a bomb burst. Everybody over to the bashas. Bashas means where we used to live, or where people could live. I didn't. Neither did a lot of other guys. But that's where our kit and equipment were. Whip it off, get into a tracksuit, and people will be gone for 6-mile runs, 5-mile runs, just to clear the head, if you like, if nothing more. I don't remember going eating lunch. So that was the type and level that we were at that stage. Once you got home, okay, families, they had to understand really that as a professional soldier, if you're doing stuff like that, it does severely affect their day-to-day life. And I was no different. And some of the lads on the course, they were no different. That's what happened. When you get home, I had to go and close the door and learn 50, 60 words for the next day. That was my homework. Well, after a day in there, then you come home, you have something to eat, you don't hardly see anything, you go and you've got an hour and a half knocking this stuff together, trying to learn the words for the following day, because you know in the morning you're going to get a test when you get in. And within reason, if you can't do it, you won't be on the course. Simple. Because if you can't learn the words, you can't keep up. However, the worst part for me was actually the grammar side of it. The grammar is something I found very difficult to pick up. The words themselves and around that weren't too bad. But I did struggle fairly much with the grammar. And anybody who's tried it, there's some people pick it up like that. That's simple. It doesn't work for everybody like that. I'm no different. Not a thicko, but you know what? It's one of those things. Know your limitations is one of them. But, the instructors were always there to help if you needed extra help. And I remember one of them, when I said to him, so Royal Army Education Corps, I said to him, how many languages do you actually speak? He looked at me and he said 11. I said, not some of them fluently, but this was a colloquial course. Mine was colloquial. So he could speak 11 languages. I said to him, wow. I said, I bet you can't strip a GPMG down. GPMG didn't mean anything to him. He's in the army. So he could speak 11 languages, but he couldn't strip a GPMG down, general purpose machine gun, which is a great gun, by the way. So, yes, it was a bit of fun. You could see the little on his face, but things like that, it just shows you 11 languages. And Rusty's struggling now for his second, let alone the next one that comes up. But yeah, so pretty good. And I think today we'll leave it at that as a short one, because tomorrow or as soon as possible, I'll be knocking the rest together now I've got all the kit. But if I go into the next phase of what I'm going to talk about, it's going to take us way over the time. So have a think about that, the first part of the training after the Falklands and stuff. And I think you can see where I'm heading. You know, once I've done the language course, I'm heading off into Oman. And that's where we are at the moment. And what actually happened out there is fun. It's all in my book, The Regiment, 15 Years in the SAS. I'm giving you some little snippets from it, but the in-between lines are in there, and yeah, you'll see once the course is finished what happens once we get to Oman. And you will have a smile on your face, I can promise you that at times. So that one I'll be doing next. We'll see how this one goes, and if you get any more subscribers, great. And look forward to your comments, of which I'll be back on top of again now. And who dares wins.